Hey guys, this is Derek from the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast. Just want to let you know about this great partnership that we have with Collar and Elbow now. You can check out all of their great merchandise at collarandelbowbrand.com. Make sure you use the code WIQ101 to get some great savings. Everybody likes saving money. I like saving money, so you should too. collarandelbowbrand.com, the WIQ101. It's a match made in heaven.
Perfect. Who better than Derek, Pat, Andrew, the wrestling crew? Man, they bout to put an end to y'all careers like a finishing move. They bout to give y'all facts on these cats that's fighting on these mats. Y'all can't see them like John Cena. Even if y'all had 20/20 vision, y'all better listen, pay attention, and take notes down and realize that it's not your time now. And watch these three kings take the crown. Hey, hey.
Mike Dell here, aka the biblical, pontifical, unequivocal individual that's not traditional and inexplicable, and you are listening to Wrestling IQ 101.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. I'm Andrew, and alongside Derek, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. And today we're joined by the StepDads, Radley Belmont and Wade Krueger. Man, how's it going?
I'm fantastic.
I'm great because I'm not at work right now. Unlike the last 24 hours of my life.
I just had a 4-hour nap, so I feel awesome.
That's hard, going to work and then being a stepdad,
Yeah, and wrestling in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have time for, some personal things? Or?
No.
Yeah?
No, I go to work, and then on a day off, I wrestle, and then I go back to work. And then I come here.
I mean, I got weekends off, but it's always wrestling or going to Queens to see my girlfriend. So I'm traveling either way.
Okay.
And the kids. Don't forget the kids.
Yes.
The kids. How many kids you guys have?
0.
It depends on the promo. It really does.
Yeah.
The last promo we did, we have teenagers.
Oh my god.
One promo, we had a girl named Emily.
Yep.
Oh my god.
We wrestled with a daughter once.
We've had small children. They just age.
We had
our
CZW trainees.
Our kids are really good about the fact that we use them in promos. They usually don't mind because they don't exist, and they really don't mind that we change their age and gender.
Yeah.
They're really versatile like that.
It's like Keith Slater, right?
They're so nice. It's like they're not even there.
Yeah.
He actually does have kids.
Yeah, but
That's the funny thing.
he was changing it 1 week though. He's like, I had 20 kids. You're like, there's no way you have 20 kids. It's like you don't have that much time.
We've actually had people say oh, I'm a real stepdad. I got to join the stepdads. Like, you're disqualified.
Oh.
You can't be in this. You got real kids. You're out. Sorry.
I guess you're out.
So what's the max number of kids that a stepdad should deal with? What do you think personally?
Jeez. I mean, if there's a lot of kids, then they should have a stepdad. That's if there's a single mom with 8 kids, she should find a stepdad right away. That's too many kids for one people, unless you're a partridge and a bus or something.
I haven't seen the movie, but the Steve Martin movie.
Yeah.
Is he a stepdad in that movie?
I don't know. I've never actually seen it.
I haven't either.
I think he is, right? And there's another one too.
I mean, Mike Brady from the Brady Bunch has 6 kids, and cousin Oliver, but we don't count him. He's terrible.
So there's no max for a kid's love when it comes to a stepdad.
No. I don't think so, especially if you're. I'd say especially if you're Mormon, but I don't know if they allow divorce. So I don't know if stepdads even exist out there. It's a very weird situation.
I have to ask Elder Foreman.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna win a championship, and we're just gonna have 20 kids come into the ring, and the crowd can figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about this one? What are the best qualities of a good stepdad?
That is a good question. Good fatherly advice, especially if it's silly and repetitive.
Yeah.
Or not helpful at all. Rub some dirt on it. If you could come up with stuff like that on the spot, you're a good stepdad.
I appreciate a dad who is as close to Optimus Prime as possible.
Dead?
Shut up. Hey, I cried when I was a kid and Optimus Prime died, okay?
I feel like I'd be like the Adam Sandler, Big Daddy, if the kids are up, just put newspaper on.
Oh,
or
same.
something like that.
Absolutely same.
You would definitely do that.
Absolutely same. I do that when I throw up.
I just like stop, drop, and roll for like fun. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
The last time I had a big house party at my house, I locked myself in the bathroom and threw up. And I only have one bathroom in my house, so everyone at my party was inconvenienced. But guess what? It's my house. It's my rules.
We were downstairs in my room, which wasn't my room yet, but there was like 8 of us, and we're just screaming up because the bathroom is slightly above us, and we're just like, "Wake up! Wake up!" The door's locked. Well, he's dead. I don't know. We're trying to find out.
I blacked out for 2 hours, but when I woke up, I did clean. Like the next morning, the bathroom was clean. So I must be a very nice blackout drunk, is all I'm saying.
Sounds like a party we should come to one day.
Oh, absolutely!
Yeah.
I love to have gatherings at my house.
Yeah.
No one comes to them
Unless you're British.
unless they're I had a barbecue and one of my friends from England showed up, and I was like, no one has any excuse ever again to not come to my party.
We didn't know he was in the country. I turn around, my friend from England's there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, hi.
Like,
have a hamburger with us.
That'd be perfect. We could be the step kids. It'd be like, you guys got a black step kid and a Jewish step kid. How perfect is that?
Exactly.
How perfect is that?
We're covering all bases.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I am waiting for promoters to jump on that bandwagon. Where like every other promotion, we have a completely different set of family members.
Yeah, like,
and we just never explain
the
it.
Dudley Boys, right?
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's our ultimate goal in wrestling is to just be the new Dudleys.
That's quite a compliment too.
I want to have a kid who's like 7 feet tall, but like we treat him like he's still a kid, and we're like, you'll be big and strong one day, like us.
He just
But
talks in like caveman.
I remember when they announced like WrestleMania, we were like talking. I'm like, can you imagine just you and I, if we like break down the middle of Louisiana, he's like, yeah, but you'll get away with it because you're white, and I'm like, I'll say Ivey, and they'll just know I'm Jewish, like they'll just like come out and
Well, maybe
the alligator food within like a minute, like
unless like Tommy Wiseau shows up, he's supposedly from Louisiana,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
we will stick out like a sore thumb, the two of us.
unless it's Mardi Gras.
Yeah,
Then you're good.
Yeah. Like if you fly into the city,
Then they'll pick your car up and walk it around in the parade. You know what they call that in New Orleans? 3 o'clock.
That's hilarious. So let's see. All right, I have another question. Who sells the best argyle sweater vest? I got the tough questions today. All right.
That's a tough. I thought you were gonna say who sells the best. I was like him, but
Right, yeah. Right,
but who sells the best sweater vest and stuffer? I'd say Men's Warehouse. That'd be my go-to.
Warehouse?
Yeah.
Also, okay.
I would have to go with that too. I can't.
Yep.
I can't deny.
Yeah.
It's quality, man.
Yeah,
It's real quality.
Definitely. I hear that.
Oh, I mean Goodwill too,
The Goodwill too. Oh man.
because dads are always seemingly getting rid of their sweater vests, so you get them at Goodwill for cheap.
Yeah, it's like the exact cartoony 70s sweater vests every time you go.
If you want to be a stepdad on a budget, you go to Goodwill. You can get a golf club for $3 and a sweater vest for $5, and probably some kids for like $2.
Actually, I gotta ask you a question, man. What's in the pipe?
Nothing's in the pipe.
Nothing?
Nothing's in the pipe. I'll be honest, I don't smoke or drink.
Okay.
So I'm totally straight edge, which is really weird because I lived in Las Vegas for 16 years.
Oh man.
And people there did not know the term straight edge. Like CM Punk just started doing it and all that stuff. That's where I found out because nobody around me was.
It's even funnier to me because in any of our promos or anything that involves drinking or smoking, it's always we always make it him.
Yeah.
Because I actually drink. I don't smoke, but I don't smoke cigarettes, but he doesn't drink or smoke, but he always in the promos is either drinking or he has the pipe.
Yeah.
Which makes it way funnier to us personally.
Yeah,
People know.
My dad was a smoker, and my mother's allergic to smoke.
Oh my god.
So when I was a kid, I thought it was like, I don't know why. When you're a kid, you think rebellious things or the stupidest things are rebellious. So I was like, I'm gonna be the guy who doesn't drink, and I'm gonna be the real rebel. And somehow it just kind of stuck, and I never did it. So.
So, like you guys, your promos are funny, and it's funny you mentioned that because there's one with the empty Coke bottle, or when you're pouring the beer, and the thing is just the bottle's just hanging in the air and stuff like that. I mean, how did you guys come up with some of these promos?
These are all things. They're really funny. So my
Give
house.
Them the process. Give them the process.
Well, first of all, those promos are shot. I have a bar in my basement, and the basement is also his room that he rents. We're roommates. So it's really funny. His bedroom has a bar in it. which is even funnier now that
Yeah,
you know the
he
Easter
used
egg.
to have a
that's-
giant cutout of the world's most interesting man scare the hell out of me when I woke up.
It's still in the basement.
I
Just a
had to move
giant
it.
cardboard cutout of the
Yeah,
world's
I
most
had to
interesting
move it to
man.
a different room.
But our promos, we'll just know we have to shoot one. It's not like we plan these well in advance. We'll just both be home from work because we both get out in the afternoon, and we'll be like, oh, we got to shoot a promo today. And I'll go downstairs and we'll start out with like a basic idea of like,
Usually,
we lost a match and we're trying to get a rematch for the titles.
We'll have like a line or two be like, I think we should end with this quote.
Yeah.
Or something
And
like
then
that. But
it's
it's never set in stone or anything.
then it's just like 20 minutes of us going back and forth and kind of just molding it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like 2 takes and we're done.
Yeah, like that particular one with the Bart. He came downstairs. I was watching like New Japan Wrestling or something, and he's like, "You got anything in mind?" I was like, "Yeah, well, we gotta say it sucks that we lost and we gotta make a comeback." And right there, I was like, "Let's just do some at the bar." We moved everything away from the bar.
Yeah,
It was that quick.
We'll do like a first shoot where we just film, and the stuff from the first shoot never gets used.
Yeah, one day we'll have to make a compilation of all the weird stuff we do.
Yeah, we usually just watch it back, and
I'll-
we're like, what was good and what wasn't, and what do we want to change, and we'll just kind of be like, oh, I liked how you did that. What if we throw this joke there? Or what if
like he had no idea what Suburban Commando was.
Really?
I had to show him, and then I'm running around doing Hogan poses. So there's a video of me running around doing Hogan poses
And then-
while he's setting up the alcohol.
right? Then we brought it up. We brought it up, and I was like, well, what's the payoff to that joke? And I was like, well, at the end, we win the tag titles, and we walk the red carpet. And I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect. That was it.
It's great to be on the same wavelength like that. Like if I did the promo myself, it would have been totally different. If he did it by himself, it would have been totally different.
Yeah.
Did you
But-
actually end up watching it?
I've never seen it. The promo, yes.
Oh,
Suburban
no.
Commando, I've never
yeah.
seen.
No, I've not.
Suburban Commando, I've never seen. Mr. Nanny, I've seen,
Mr. Nanny's
but
great.
not Suburban Commando.
I just remember as a kid seeing the suit Hogan wears, and I was like, "This has got to be awesome, right? Look at that suit."
Yeah, it is awesome.
You know, there you
A
go.
movie Arnold smartly passed on.
Oh, man.
Yeah, to take Mr. Freeze. He still wore a suit anyway.
Yeah, but he also wore polar bear slippers, and it's the best thing I've ever seen.
That is true. That is true. So how did the StepDads get formed? Like, how did you guys come together and create the StepDads?
I mean, it's just, when wrestlers say the best gimmicks are just themselves turned up,
Yeah.
the StepDads is just us all the time.
I've been called an old man since I was like 19.
Oh my god.
I've had the beard since I was a teenager. I've had the white in my beard since like 21, 22.
Oh,
Yeah.
And people always mistook me for other people's dads and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was already there. I was totally there.
And I love stupid jokes, and I have the quick wit, and it's just
I'm terrible at corny jokes. It's so bad. I need to stop.
like, it's
I
actually the toughest thing. It's actually really tough for me to be a heel in the ring because I just want to crack a joke and make people laugh.
Yeah.
Always. So sometimes I have to bite my tongue in the ring really hard when somebody says something that I think would be really funny, but I know it would get a reaction, and I have to stop.
Yeah. Oh man.
Plus the PG and stuff. You know.
But it's always, it's just us. It's literally just
Tell
us.
them tell them about the name because that's a cool
Okay.
story.
it's a terrible story.
Because we didn't just wake up one day and go StepDads. It's
So-
actually been something that we've done for a long time.
The StepDads started. It was the name of my fantasy football team.
Oh man.
Because I had won like 2 years in a row, and I changed my team name to the StepDads because we beat you and you hate us.
Yeah.
Oh,
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was a really stupid joke.
Okay.
And then I was like, what if that was a wrestling tag team? And it wasn't even originally like the idea was going to be this.
It wasn't gonna be actual dads.
Actual dads.
Yeah.
It was just kind of
That
like
was
guys who were
some-
cocky.
Yeah.
And it was their name was even a joke. Like that's how seriously they took everything. Even their name was a joke. It was just a reference to something stupid. And then it just were like, what if we just took it all the way the other way and made it where we're actual dads? And
Do you remember the actual night we talked about it?
no.
Pro Wrestling Magic.
Oh yeah, we went to a Pro Wrestling
Went
Magic
to a
show.
Pro Wrestling Magic show.
We saw Massage NV
Massage
wrestle.
MV.
And we were like, these
Oh,
guys
okay.
have a great idea of like their gimmick and what
Yeah.
works.
Like the match, it was a triple threat match, and I didn't even remember the finish. We were leaving just talking about their spots and how awesome they
and
were.
how nothing was too silly for
And
them.
I
And
was
we're
like,
like,
yeah.
what if we took this that far? And
And
that
there
was
you
it.
go, yeah.
We were both training at that point,
I was like 9 months in already.
Yeah, and we were doing different gimmicks. We weren't a tag team, and we were like, "This is a great idea." And then we started workshopping it at like Warriors Unreleased and stuff like that, and it just worked. People loved it, and we just kept going with it.
Yeah, well, luckily we got a lot of support early on.
Yes,
from, like the Warriors of Wrestling guys and stuff like that.
Except from the place that trained us.
Yeah, but
They hated
everyone
to get
else
it.
liked it, so it's been very supportive.
So how long have you guys actually been friends for?
August 2010.
That's funny how he knows that.
I don't, no clue.
That's a friend anniversary right there.
Yeah,
for real, right?
there wasn't much going on that year.
So here, the way he lived in Vegas at the time, and I lived in New Jersey. We both backyard wrestled, and there was a forum that we were on, a forum that like guys like Fred Yehai, guys who talk about backyard wrestling, they were all in this forum. Fred Yehai, Will Ospreay,
So they'd be
Matt
like,
Nix.
yeah. So Fred Yehai was like, "Look at me wrestle on this trampoline," and stuff like that.
And we met on that because we both posted our stuff, and I was going out. Like, we talked for a while. I ended up going out to Vegas on a trip, and we hung out while I was out there.
You showed me all those JPW pictures.
Yeah, because I used to do photography for Jersey All Pro, so we bonded over wrestling.
There you go.
And eventually he ended up moving out here for his dad.
I remember that day you were like, "Look at this picture of El Generico without his mask." So I was like, "Oh wow!"
It was an accident picture. I was taking a picture with
Yeah.
Kevin Steen, and Generico walked by in the back and just did this like face.
Yeah, this face.
And now they're both in the WWE, and I'm spanking people in the wrestling ring. So
Props to you for not putting that out there, though.
I never, R.I.P. The man is dead now.
Yes.
El Generico's dead.
He's
Respects.
Miss him already.
Tragic.
But yeah, we met through that, and then he moved out here, and then it just kept snowballing until he ended up moving in. I had a room in the house, and it's history.
Yeah. It helps a lot to live together too. Obviously, with the promos
Yeah,
and traveling, it's perfect. It just kind of fell together. It was never planned. We started at different times.
Yep.
In actual pro wrestling.
Because he was actually training out in Vegas when he was out there, and I was just kind of screwing around in a backyard. And then it just kind of all came together. It's really weird. Things work out in weird ways.
Yeah.
So you were talking about spanking.
Yes.
One of my other tough questions: if you had anyone you can spank, fantasy spanking,
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, who would you?
That is so.
Maria Kanellis.
It went the complete other way.
I had to. You went the normal way. I had to go the weird way.
Oh man!
I don't know if that's so weird.
That's all. Oh, man.
And the nice thing is, if you spank Trump, you don't even have to worry about retaliation because he has such small hands.
You have to use.
See, I like how you have to explain yourself. I don't have to say
You have to
anything.
use a magazine with his face on it, though.
He has to be looking at his own page.
You see that?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I was like, of
Maybe-
all
and-
the vain things in the world.
The nice thing about my spanking compared to yours is I might get $130,000 out of it.
Yeah, I'll just get lost.
Yeah, right. For the same price.
I'll be able to pay your bill somewhere.
Oh, thank you. There we go.
So guys, you know, when you guys decided that this like a tag team was going to be for you, I mean, did you think you would make it this far so quickly?
No,
Absolutely not.
never mind. So quickly, ever.
Yeah.
I didn't
was-
expect us to ever win a match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like an idea that we wanted to try. We wanted to see if it would work. We were having fun. We wanted to wrestle. It had we were getting that itch. We had been training. It was just like what we were doing wasn't fun as separate. We were both doing gimmicks that didn't really fit the people we are at all.
I was literally doing a Las Vegas gambler gimmick, which, like I said, I don't drink or smoke, so I came out with a thing of scotch acting like a drunk. And I was like, I think this is how you act when you're drunk. I don't know. I have enough friends. I don't know.
I was the Kodiak. So I was like this guy who lived in the wilderness and was kind of like a big scary dude, but it took away my
Personality.
and my
just stare at people.
Yeah, because I didn't know how to connect to the character in a way where I could talk. Because I figured that in my mind that character doesn't talk or have a quick wit or anything. He lives in the woods and fights bears. So we decided to try the gimmick, and I mean the first time we ever did it, people were like, "You guys have been wrestling for how long?" and I was only the first time we ever did a match. I was a month in. The first time we ever did a StepDads match, and you were a year.
I was 10 months or something like that.
So the fact that it went
Like
well,
pro shows.
first of all, was shocking, and then it's just continued to surprise us that people know who we are. Like we go places, and people are like, "Oh, it's the StepDads," and I'm like, "I didn't even know you knew who that I existed."
Yeah.
So, no, not at all.
Yeah, I expected us to just lose for years and years and years, and you gotta pay your dues and all that kind of stuff. So I figured if we're gonna just get squashed by people, we might as well have fun on the entranceway to get squashed. That was my whole logic, and somehow it caught on, and we've main evented shows.
We have tag belts.
We have tag belts. I don't know how this happened.
I don't know what people see in us.
We sell merch and stuff.
Yeah,
it's totally not what I expected, and I'm very happy about it.
You guys have like a very good gimmick, and you guys are very likable guys too.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. When we sat here with Seaway and TJ, they were joking about who is the Marty of the team. You guys do that sometimes?
Two Genettis.
Hashtag two Genettis. We've already established that.
Hashtag.
We've already established that.
Yeah. Hashtag two Genettis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Or as recently we just wrestled a show up in Massachusetts, and we're heels up there is rare for us.
We're like likable heels up there.
Yeah, like they cheer us, but also like I push girls. Like it's
like I'll shake the old guys' hands and then yell at the kids that they should be shaking my hands.
Oh,
but it still kind of evens out.
But in that promo, where we were hyping ourselves up, we were hashtag two Tom Brady's. This is Tom Brady and this is Tom Brady, and you can't beat us. So
and we had fans coming up to us at the show and being like, "We're Tom Brady," and they look at the other, Tom Brady, it's Sir Tom Brady. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, we're two Genettis. That was one of the first things we ever established.
Once we started, I was like, we're just gonna lose all the time. Two Genettis will be great.
So you got to throw somebody through the TV set though. Right?
Oh man.
We're both gonna get rolled through
They're
the
all
set.
diving into it together.
So, listening to your entrance music, I'm going to assume you guys are Full House fans.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and then I'm going to ask, what are your favorite 80s, 90s sitcoms?
Ooh, okay. Well, Full House is right there.
Yeah.
Our sense of humor is Uncle Joey, 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And also, I mean, Bob Saget, Danny Tanner is like one of the greatest TV dads of all time. So he's right there.
See, I'm a huge Married with Children fan.
Oh,
I grew up with that. I love it.
One.
I still. I can go back and watch it anytime. Hilarious.
Family Matters is great until it got weird, and it was just focused on Urkel and his time machine.
Yeah, once it became Urkel, the show.
Yeah, once Urkel went into the time machine and Darius Carter came out, it was all over.
Oh, that's funny.
The one I never get tired of though, that I could watch all the time. Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, of course.
Boy Meets World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are my two. Those are my 1 and 2 right there. Anytime they're on TV, I will stop and watch them.
One that I love that's very underrated is Dinosaurs.
Yo, yes. How about that ending? Did you see the ending?
It was so weird. It was just so weird.
Crazy.
Yeah. They were like, how horrifying could we end this show that children love?
It's so sad. I wanted to cry.
What if we kill off every character, including a baby?
I was like 10 or something when that happened. It was crazy to me.
I actually... I collect autographs as one of my hobbies, and I have a signed photo signed by 3 of the 5 cast members of Dinosaurs.
Oh man!
So I love that show.
Yeah,
it's great.
Well, I got an autograph from Disco Inferno, so forget you. I win this.
That's a great story. I'm gonna tell that real quick. So for Christmas we were exchanging gifts, and I had written to Disco Inferno.
No, you wrote to Goldberg first.
Well, I wrote to Goldberg first, and he didn't read my letter. So he signed it to Justin, and I was like, well, it wasn't for me, but thanks, Bill.
The other person who sounds like they're disappointed.
Well, I mean, it's cool, but like it wasn't for me. I actually don't collect wrestler autographs because I think it's weird. I mean, at least it's Goldberg, it's his real name.
Yeah.
But it's weird for me to collect autographs from someone who's like writing a fake name personally. It's just weird. Other people feel differently. It's like it's a stage name.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird about taking pictures with wrestlers unless I actually know you.
And I was always a pictures person.
Weird to me.
But so I tried to get Goldberg. He signed to me. I mean, whatever. And then I wrote to Disco Inferno. But I also got an autographed photo of Adam West from Batman.
Yeah.
He's a huge Batman fan.
And that Halloween, I dressed up like the Surfer Batman.
Yeah.
For his Halloween party.
I got this picture of Disco Inferno, and I framed it. and he opened it up and just died. He's like, this is the silliest Christmas gift I've ever gotten.
Yeah, and being like a WCW guy, like the whole time WCW was around, I couldn't stop laughing for like 10 minutes.
But I framed the Adam West picture behind it. So I was like, oh, you should look in that. There's like a note on the back. And when he opened it up, the picture of Adam West fell out. It was the actual Christmas gift.
So it was Batman in the suit.
So it was a way cooler gift, but it was also I'll never forget the reaction of his face just opening up this giant signed photo of Disco Inferno.
It said "Burn, baby, burn."
It does say "Burn, baby, burn"
name on it.
So, were you also Batman that party? Because like 2 Batmans. Right?
No.
That might be next year.
I was Captain Boomerang.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I cosplay as Captain Boomerang.
Right,
Like,
nice.
because I don't know. I like the character. I like the look of the character from Suicide Squad, even though the movie was terrible. He was like one of the few redeeming things about it. So.
And you had the stuffed animal and everything.
Yeah, I have the unicorn. I have the look. I have the jacket. I actually used to wear the jacket as my entrance gear when I was the Kodiak, the big leather jacket.
Oh, nice. So you're a big Devils fan, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Who's your favorite player of all time on the Devils?
Patrick Elias, which has actually recently caused some problems because I had to miss bookings because they just retired his number recently.
Yeah.
So I had like 3 or 4 feds be like, "Oh, can you come in on this day?" And I was like, "I can't because I'm gonna be somewhere."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, family event." I was like, "I'm watching a guy's number get hung in the rafters." And it was, if I've been watching hockey for almost my whole life, so that was such a big thing for me that it's hard to explain to someone who's not a fan that like only 5 guys have ever had their number retired by the Devils, and like I wasn't gonna miss this guy I've been watching my whole life get enshrined. But it caused some interesting reactions.
Don't worry, I picked up your slack.
Yeah.
Got a rare singles match
he
out
wrestled
of
a
it.
singles match.
Nice.
One show we canceled because I knew way in advance, so we just didn't take bookings. But we had taken a booking in June for a show that was supposed to happen in February because I don't know, the person that has way better future sight than me. But in October, 4 months before the show, I was like, we can't make it, sorry. And then I got an earful about it, and then the show got canceled. So.
I understand.
And even when we won the tag titles in November, we were like, just so you know, he can't come in February. You still want to do this? They were like, yeah, just come in as a singles is fine. So I went down there and wrestled a singles match where if I lost, they would have won a tag title shot.
Oh yeah.
Had to make it work.
That's actually really funny.
It worked out.
The day we won the tag titles, I had to tell the booker of that fed, I can't come to your next show.
Oh man.
Nah, it worked out great. They loved me.
Yeah.
That's funny. So let's see. What are some of your pet peeves that you guys have of the new generation of whippersnappers?
Oh
boy. Oh boy.
They share too much of their lives on the internet.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is stuff that, like, no one cares about.
Yeah.
Just like no one needs to know you were at the mall. No one needs to know you ate a good sandwich. It's just post important things.
I don't want to hear about how long that red light was.
Yeah.
Okay? I wasn't there.
I don't want to see your Snapchats of you bobbing your head to a song on the radio. I don't want to see Snapchats of a concert. No, you didn't even watch it in the first place because you got your phone out. Why would I want to watch it?
The worst ones are when you go on Facebook and it's like a response to something you've never seen. So it's like, I hate when this happens. And that's the whole post. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Especially when it's something, it's like I hate when a bird flies out of the sky and steals Donald Trump's toupee and flies off into the sunset. It's like, that's never happened. You've never seen that.
I hate it too. A lot of people do.
Like, what's something?
That bird was his.
People hate very specific things and feel the need to post about it. I was like, that's not an issue I've ever had in my life. Yeah. Don't you hate when you're driving to work and your car gets stuck in quicksand? Me too.
Justice.
First world problems, right?
Yeah, sure. No world problems. Cartoon problems.
So it sounds like you guys are in touch with, watching television and movies and stuff like that. You like movie quotes, right?
Absolutely.
What are some of your favorite movie quotes or favorite movies or shows that you...
Okay, well, I'm going to start with an obscure one just because we almost used it as the opening quote of our entrance music before the Full House thing. Uh-huh. There's a movie called Pain and Gain starring Mark Wahlberg, The Rock, and Anthony Mackie.
Future President The Rock.
Yep, future president 2020. There's a quote in it where Mark Wahlberg is just destroying these kids in basketball, and he yells at this kid, keep it up. I've seen your mother driving up and down this block. I'll be a stepfather by the end of the week. And it was almost the opening of our original theme music. That's a good movie, underrated movie, like dark comedy, but really good. I mean, I love bad movies. I love The Room.
The Room is so quotable. So quotable.
I love like Troll 2. If it's a bad B movie, I love it.
Okay.
I mean, we both love comic books, so we both love the Marvel stuff, and we tolerate the DC stuff.
You more than me.
Me more than him. I don't know. What about you?
Oh, jeez, I don't even know off the top of my head. Now I'm just thinking of DC movies. It's making me mad.
I watch far too much like Netflix and stuff.
Yeah.
Like recently, a movie I really like that people probably haven't seen is Logan Lucky, which is Channing Tatum and Adam Driver, and they're like rednecks who rob a NASCAR race.
Really?
It's really entertaining. I really love like Black Mirror on Netflix. Is one of my favorite shows.
The first episode.
Well, the one people need to check out if they want some quotes is a Tick. The new Tick show.
The new Tick show is
very
great.
funny.
Oh, I've seen it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
I've seen the commercials for it.
We
The
also-
original creators on it. It's so funny.
I love the Tick.
If you love stupid humor, go on Netflix and watch American Vandal.
Yes, American Vandal's great.
It's basically Making a Murderer, but about a kid who just spray painted a bunch of dicks on cars at a high school.
Yeah, he just feed on all the teachers'
But
cars.
they do it like it's a crime drama where like they're
super
like studying
serious.
the evidence and it's super serious.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's great.
like investigative reporting on these dicks. Who did? And it's like, who did the dicks? Super dramatic. And the guy who's like the guy being like the guy who's in trouble for it. He's just like, come on, man, I didn't do the dicks. Come on. And that's his whole defense for like half the show.
That's hilarious.
Really?
Oh, it's great.
Oh, and then also recently I just saw the movie Game Night, which is I think it's still in theaters. It's Jason Bateman, who I love on Arrested Development and stuff. And the movie is just so crazy. It's these people set up a game night, and it's supposed to be like a fake kidnapping, and they have to solve it. But the guy actually gets kidnapped during the game night.
Okay.
But there's so many good people in it. It's like the silliest, craziest movie I've seen in a while.
You know you like The Office because you quoted The Office when we were at UWLE.
Oh, I love The Office. I've watched The Office so many times. I really relate to Stanley because he never wants to be anywhere unless it involves a hot pretzel. So promoters, if you pay me in a hot pretzel, I will be there.
I feel like I'm the Michael Scott of my workplace.
Like you try really hard, but you
the
screw.
boss.
Yeah,
You try really hard, but you screw everything up. But people love you anyway.
Yeah, and then
that's pretty much me in a nutshell right there.
I also love Kevin because
Kevin.
he tries to he's got real skills. Like he doesn't want to waste time saying too many words. Why say so many words when few words work just as well?
You like Toby?
He's a Scranton Strangler, so I don't trust him.
Yeah.
So, what are some things from the 80s and 90s that were better then that aren't now?
Oh God,
They're better than they're now.
Yeah,
Probably.
Action heroes.
action heroes.
So many great action. Where's the Chuck Norris of today? It's still Chuck Norris.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you're
Right?
Mm.
yeah, it's true. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's still here.
Yep. Yeah, Action Heroes is definitely a good
Like
one.
we got The Rock now, but we already had The Rock wrestling fans. Come on.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
we're just sharing them with everyone now.
Yeah.
There's what Jason Statham. That's like it. That's it.
Yeah. I want to say yes and no to video games. I love so many old Nintendo games and
Yeah.
Super Nintendo games,
Yeah, that's true.
but also I love Super Mario Odyssey, which I've been playing like crazy lately. So they're both great.
Well, for its time, I think '80s games blew your mind more though. Like now, people are so
Yes.
jaded.
It was
Yeah.
the jump from like Atari to Nintendo was insane.
Oh,
And, games had levels and stuff, and I mean I wasn't even around for it, but like I remember playing Nintendo and it blew my mind. Nowadays it's like that has cool graphics. I guess it's better than it used to be. Like
I mean, this is like a '90s thing, but I remember going into a Walmart as a kid, and they had Mario 64 on display,
Yes.
and I was playing it in the Walmart, and I went, we've reached the pinnacle of gaming. This is as great as it's ever gonna be.
Yeah, like the jump from
the
jump from 2D to 3D is like insane when you think about like compared to how it is now. I mean, games are cool, but like, how many games are going for that retro style because it's just classic?
That's right. People love that feeling.
Gas prices were better in the 80s than they are now.
Yeah. Well,
throw that out there.
It's so funny that you said that you reached the pinnacle of gaming. It's just like, it's true. Like, you know, you didn't think like DVD players and stuff like that. Like, you know, now you can just download a movie. You know, like, it's crazy how
DVD players. What's that? They're on Blu-ray now.
the way we felt about
Laserdisc over here is what we're about.
The way it's a good analogy to the StepDads. The jump from 2D to 3D from Super Nintendo to N64 is a lot like, I feel like people watching the StepDads now versus people watching us in the future. Now it's like, wow, that's new. That's pretty cool. And in the future, they'll be like, we thought this was good.
What? What is this? I remember when they were good.
What is datitude?
Datitude is just the way you present yourself. Mm-hmm. It's having that attitude that, you know, no one's gonna break your stride and no one's gonna slow you down.
Being large and in charge.
Yes. Datitude is choosing the channel that everyone is going to sit around the TV and watch because you know best.
Yeah. When Al Bundy puts his hand in his pocket, that's datitude.
That is. Okay. I like that.
It's just showing enough that you've had enough of it.
Yep.
But you're not really going to do anything about it. You just want them to know.
Perfect. That's where that answer ends. That's the perfect answer.
Who are some of the best sitcom dads? Besides Al Bundy, I know he has to be on that list.
I was going to say.
Well, he has to be on that
I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here.
Definitely.
All right.
I mean, we've had some recent dads go down the list. You know, Bill Cosby was up there at one point. He's fallen drastically down the list.
Terrible.
Real bad. I'm trying to think of some underrated ones.
What
Man.
about Stu Pickles?
Yo!
Stu Pickles got up in the middle of the night to make whatever he was making in that meme that
Yeah, that's right.
He's making toys.
He's memeable.
No, not even the toys, but whatever he was making for Angelica at that time in the meme that I can't think of.
Oh, man.
Great dad choice.
You think about Stu, though. It's like his kids always went missing. So how good of a dad was he? They were on adventures.
But did they ever get hurt?
They never got hurt.
Great dad. He did no work and his kids were fine. Great dad.
I got a great stepdad. I'll blow your mind. Professor Utonium.
He
How about
literally
that? He is a stepdad. Never thought of that.
he literally made his kids in a lab
They're
somewhere.
about as real as ours are. So there you go.
I'll put this one out there. He's not technically... Well, he is a dad. Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I mean,
Okay.
I love Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil was more of a dad than Will's actual dad.
That's the dad.
When Will said, "Why he don't want me, man?"
Yeah,
Uncle Phil was there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Also, Uncle Phil threw jazz really far out of that
All
house.
the time.
I want to start. We're gonna start doing that to people in matches.
Got to.
Wouldn't you say the stepdad of the new day is probably the greatest stepdad of all time?
Oh, boy. This is a stupid pun.
What?
This is a stupid pun.
Virgil, wrestling superstar Virgil, said he was the stepdad of the new day.
Well, that's why he could charge so much for photos.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm telling you.
But just
He's
and that's
probably the greatest
it's really it makes so much sense because stepdads never get any respect.
Never.
There's never
Yeah.
a line for pictures with the stepdad.
No, there's never.
The stepdads are the Genetti of the family. Is what that is.
Yeah.
Out of all the wrestling dads, you know, you got the Ortons, the Harts, Hogan, Flair. Who's the best wrestling dad?
Dusty.
Dusty?
Yeah, that's a good yeah.
Dusty's the answer.
Yeah.
There's
That's
just
true.
that would be my top. Also, special shout out as far as dads go, John Cena Sr.
Yeah, John Cena Sr. is the man.
Really?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I literally get asked by anyone I talk to about wrestling. It actually happened today. I was like, "Oh yeah, I was at a wrestling show this weekend." And they're like, "Oh, you're a wrestler? Do you know John Cena?"
I do.
And every time I'm like, "No, but I know his dad,"
Right, yeah.
which gets the weirdest responses. But I love it.
We got the footage to prove it.
Yep.
So there you go.
He gave us our first ever title shot in wrestling.
See, if you would have messaged Virgil and you would have paid him $40, he wouldn't have sent you an autograph that said Justin. So think about that next year for Christmas, all right?
I'll think about it.
Yeah, we always have this saying during intermissions where people come up and they go, "Oh, how much is the autograph?" And I go, Oh, for $5 I'll sign it. For $10 I'll give it to you.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
We've also had a few intermission book signings. We don't have a book, but if you bring a book, we will sign it for you.
That's right.
man.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Oh yeah.
I like that one.
So, I would ask you, the newspaper, is that the same newspaper or do you change it up?
I change it up every time.
So much thought goes into that damn newspaper.
Yeah.
He will go through and find the best headline.
So at my work, a lot of the old guys there will just leave their newspapers in the break room.
Okay.
And I'll sort through them for days that week.
Yeah.
And
man.
it'll be the most random ones. It'll say like, professional con man, or it'll say back in action, or whatever the title is. Yeah. And I pick the best one that week. And before that, I used to just pick up one at the store, like down the street from the venue every show.
And if it ever has the title, it has the word jobs in the
Yeah.
headline, we use it every time.
Yeah, like early on, I was using when I had the same newspaper for a while. It said something like "jobs rising by the day" or something like that.
Oh, man.
That's great.
You should probably make like a Instagram of all the newspapers that you use.
I wish they get destroyed after every show.
Right before you do it, like just take a
Yeah.
You're right.
Every every time we do something with a newspaper, it either gets jammed down his throat. It never me. I
No.
save the newspaper if I can, but it always gets jammed down his throat or ripped and rubbed in his face, or
whatever.
Joey Adams kicks through it.
Yeah, just kicks right through the newspaper.
Nice. So you have this when you're wrestling, you have like this unique like clap that you do on your stomach.
Yes.
So I was gonna ask you, how do you get the perfect dad bod?
Oh
What
man.
goes into that?
I've been perfecting mine for 29 years on this earth.
I'll put it this way: a guy named Greg Miller, if you're familiar with him, he used to be an IGN. He had something called the Lion's Diet, which everyone wants to be a lion. They're fierce, they're mean and all that. A lion in real world eats like 4 hours a day and sleeps the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's the Lion's Diet, and I think that's pretty good for a dad bod.
Yeah, like I said, been working on it for 29 years. It wasn't as good in high school, but it's great now.
I mean, when that's true. Actually, when I think about it, yeah.
You also get a dad bod by coming to interviews like this, where you show up and right in the middle of the table are donuts waiting for us. Like, you guys aren't trying to help us lose the dad bod here. I know
they got water. It's not soda.
You didn't bring us like salads or anything.
But when I first started, I was told like you gotta drop the weight and you gotta get a tan. And I had a fake tan that looked like the worst thing ever, and I was having a real hard time dropping weight. So when this came up, I was like, yeah, let's go with that, because I already look like a dad.
A really good way to know you're working on a dad bod and that you're fat is that a regular term in my house is second dinner. It's like, did you eat enough at 5? And it's 8 o'clock, and you're like, we should probably go grab some second dinner.
That's funny.
And no one blinks.
Yeah.
I feel like the best dad bod I've seen. I feel like Chris Jericho has the best dad.
I thought you were gonna say Robbie E.
I feel like no.
No.
Yeah, he has.
It's like it's just like an average body. And
I think Liger has a good dad bod.
there's a good dad body.
I think he probably does.
I wish I had thought.
That's his
Chris-
thing on Instagram, Robbie E.
Like Chris Jericho is so funny. I knew he had the best dad bod when I was watching Raw, and somebody was in the crowd with a sign, and it said Chris Jericho needs pants. That's how you just know it's time for you to lose the trunks, man. You need pants.
There's a TV show I watch called The Challenge on MTV, and the god of the dad bod there is this guy named CT. Just destroys everyone while just being a dad and having the daddest bod of all time. Mike Seaway, that was a reference just for you.
Oh man.
We're talking about Mike Seaway. I mean, how do you go from teaming up with him and then, facing the road team back?
Oh, how do you go from one to the other?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes you gotta whip your kids, man.
yeah, sometimes you got to put people in their place. And it's just the way it worked out. Our first UWA match was on 30 minutes notice.
Yeah.
A team canceled. We were close by. They said, "Can you get here?" And we said, "Sure." And it just happened to be that we ended up wrestling them. But I mean, it worked out. We're there now.
Thank goodness we teamed with them too, because you're going to a new Fed, and every time we do, because we're new, so most of the Feds we go to, we're pretty new there. People are just like, what the heck
Yeah.
is this?
Surprisingly,
Like, the first time we come out is always like a little head scratching for people.
surprisingly, when people are used to watching wrestlers who look a certain way, and then we come through the curtain, they're usually a little perplexed.
Yeah, they're wondering why they're. Is this the dark match? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Did these
with
guys get lost?
Are they trainees? So us coming out with Seaway and getting that ovation we did at Setting the Standard, was exactly what we needed to start.
To the point that one of the first times we were ever at a show, we were just in the crowd in our full StepDads gear, which we think is absurd. It's sweaters and we were in the crowd for half a show, and no one realized we were plants for the show.
Man.
So,
like, we were setting up an angle for the next show. Like, halfway through the show, we were going to do like a little brawl.
but we sat there the whole
But
time.
we sat in the second row heckling the matches for half the show. And we were being very loud and standing up and yelling StepDad stuff.
And yet when we got into a shoving match with the wrestlers that we were setting this feud up, people left the show because they were frightened because they thought it was real.
Yeah, like the
people
wrestlers
were scared of us.
Yeah, the wrestlers' families around us were like, "Oh no, they're fighting."
The promoters' parents were in front of us, and I saw them go to their son and be like, "Was that real?"
Oh my goodness. So typically when you guys like debut for someone, do you usually get cheered or do you usually get booed?
Usually it depends on what we do.
Yes.
It's usually kind of a little feeling out thing where people, the Full House music kind of sets us up to be to be good guys. So if we come out and we just ride that wave, they'll cheer us.
Usually by the first spank, people get the idea.
Yeah. Or since we use the same music everywhere, if we come out and we're the heels, we have to come out and kind of do something to get them against us. Like, I don't know, we have to do something.
Like, I always think it's hilarious, maybe it's just me, but when we come out to the Full House theme as heels, like, we'll stand there as like angry people looking at the neighbor's yard, and I'm like hitting my newspaper in my hand to this extremely happy Full House music, and to me it's hilarious.
And then he turns into like the dad version of Enzo Amore, just running around the ring, freaking out at people.
The most active is when I'm a heel because I'm just running up and down the aisles, just yelling at children.
But it's kind of a little more. We kind of use the crowds, especially if it's our first time. We use the crowds not knowing us against or in our favor, where we'll come out and they've never seen us before, so they don't react, and then we start yelling at them for not cheering us. So it's just we have to work either way because crowds are just like, what is happening?
Exactly. Yeah.
So guys, what are some of your goals? In the wrestling.
I want to be remembered as. You know the guys in the Muppets who sit in the balcony and heckle everyone?
Yeah.
I just want to be remembered as those guys of wrestling. Statler and Waldorf. I want to be the them of wrestling.
That's right. Yeah. We've talked about that before. That's literally it.
But really, it's just... We want to wrestle people that we've admired and watched.
We're wrestling fans. We want to be a part of the thing we love.
Yeah.
And
It's really, for us, it's just... We want to entertain some people. We want to wrestle some people we like and just put on a good show, and that's it. Like, there's really no, like, if I don't win a belt by this, if I'm not at this point by this year of my career, it's a failure. It's just, we're kind of just riding the wave and seeing where it takes us, because we've already exceeded so many expectations already.
We're just looking to have fun. We are having a lot of fun. It feels like we're having more fun all the time. Yeah. And that's what's important to us, is that, like when we saw Massage MV, I don't remember anything about that match, but those massage guys were hilarious.
Yeah.
That's good enough for us.
Yep.
And we have people, go, oh yeah, I remember those granddad guys. And I'm like, good enough.
Good enough, right?
And that's not to say that like we just want to have fun and we don't care about the quality. It's for us, a big part of having fun is getting better, improving, and putting on better matches. We love seeing guys that we saw when we first started see us a year later that maybe we haven't seen in a locker room, and they're like, wow, you guys have really improved. That's big for us. So we're just trying to continue getting better so we can entertain more.
And we want to see how far you can go. You don't know until you try. So
Yeah.
who knows where things can go? It could be crazy at some point.
We want to see how many crazy ideas we can come up with too. We have so much stuff in the pipeline that we haven't even used yet.
So many promo ideas,
shirt ideas,
just weird spanks that we just haven't done yet.
Weird props.
Like,
Weird props are coming. We just had a 20-minute discussion with with Fox Vineyard about weird props at a show this weekend, and that guy he could be a stepdad.
I mean, UWA Elite hasn't even seen me do the worm yet.
Yeah,
I saw you do the worm. It's pretty impressive.
So,
and no one's seen me pull out some weird stuff I could do yet.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for like an indie kick or something weird.
Yeah. I like to throw out a suicide dive or Hurricane Rana randomly. So wait for that.
We can actually wrestle. Spoilers.
So when it comes to like fantasy booking, if you guys could put the stepdads up against any tag team,
We talked about
past
this
or present, who would
Do you want to say it or me? Do you want me to say it?
Wait, you want to count it down and see if we say the same one?
right.
I can't imagine we won.
Count it down, boys. Count it down.
3, 2, 1.
Three count.
3 count. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
Awesome.
But Evan Courageous has to be involved.
He has to be a manager or something. And we already met the Hurricane, so we're halfway there.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
So
we're just talking to him about the tick too, actually.
if it's
at the show.
if it's a weird, obscure tag team, I'd love to wrestle them.
Yeah.
Kenzo Suzuki and Rene Dupree,
Yes.
bring it on.
They were a great tag team.
Too cool. Too cool.
Spirit
Yes.
Squad,
Spirit Squad, yeah.
Techno Team 2000. Like,
Massage MV.
yeah.
Might as well.
For me, the guys like when I think of tag teams, I loved watching. I feel like guys like you think of like the big like the LOD and the Road Warriors. You think of like
Hardy's, Edge Christian.
Yeah, Edge and Christian is the one that was like the big one for me. I thought they were hilarious. Everyone remembers the Hardys from those feuds. Like they're the team you remember, but I always thought Edge and Christian was my favorite.
I always skew
We got the
older, I
W's.
think. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I always skew older. I think of Rock and Roll Express, Harlem Heat,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, because I was a WCW guy, so
Yeah.
I always think WCW teams.
He didn't watch any. He was on the wrong side of history.
The first, apparently when I was a child, I watched like Ultimate Warrior and
Okay.
stuff, because
Yeah.
there's footage of me like wearing Ultimate Warrior stuff. But as far as I can remember, the first Raw I ever saw was Raw's Owen.
Okay.
So, and before, like to me, Hulk Hogan's theme, that was Paris and Briscoe's theme.
Yeah.
So, like, I had no idea
I have some
as
weird.
a kid.
Like
No.
my earlier wrestling memories are weird. I was a huge Bret Hart guy.
Yeah.
But like the first things I remember seeing him in were like him versus Jerry Lawler in like a Kiss My Foot match.
Oh,
Like it wasn't even like good Bret Hart. It was just it was just Bret Hart existing. And then my earliest memory of WCW is I've told you this story before.
Yes, yeah.
I was watching a show and they announced that the Nasty Boys were going to be on the show, and I had those like action figures that like didn't move. They were just like giant, and their arms were just up on the sides. And I had the Nasty Boys, and I don't know where I got them from. It was like Vader, Hogan, and the Nasty Boys. And I'd never seen them wrestle, but I had their action figures. And I did something, and my dad yelled at me and said, "You have to go to bed." And I cried because I wasn't going to get to watch the Nasty Boys, which is a thing that's never been said by anyone else on this planet before or since.
Including Nasty Boys themselves.
Yeah.
Never said
Oh
that.
my goodness! Yeah, which WCW like era did you like the most?
Oh, Russo.
You shut up. You shut up right now. No, I was definitely early WCW and NWO War. Was all-
Yeah.
I appreciate early WCW,
Yeah.
like Flair, Steamboat, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love watching it
Yeah.
now, especially now that I'm a professional wrestler. I know more about how amazing that was.
Like Piper and Alcatraz, I know you're big on.
Yo, that promo was fantastic. I love that promo. Just I want to do a promo like that one day. We're just screaming, running around outside the house. But that kind of era of like, I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like NWO was people always say, "Oh, NWO great faction." Like if you watched it at the time, it was another brand.
Yeah,
they did the brand split.
Yeah,
Here's-
yeah.
Nobody remembers
Just
that.
speaking of WCW in that era, a team that's grossly overlooked as an awesome tag team because they didn't get to show it, Faces of Fear.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Ming and Barbarian were
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah,
and they never got to show how
Yeah.
awesome they were because they were at the wrong time in WCW.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I like thank God for WWE Network. He
Mhm.
thought I was crazy. I told him because I'm like an NWO fan. Like I love
Yeah.
NWO.
Good
so
for
I
you, man.
started watching. I watched it on the network from when NWO started,
Mhm.
and so I couldn't bear it anymore. So I literally watched every Monday Nitro from that time to that time. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just binge watching Nitro."
There's a
I was
random.
a DX guy, so
I was a huge DX guy,
Yeah.
which is funny because
Yeah,
we're wrestling on a show this weekend with Billy Gunn,
Really?
which is
Yes.
like is gonna blow my mind. Like if I told myself as a kid that I'd be on a show with a guy
Yeah,
from
yeah.
DX, forget it. But we were watching a random like Nitro from like '97, and there's a match. It's like Faces of Fear versus Harlem Heat versus Public Enemy.
Oh yeah,
and it is
insane.
the best train wreck I've ever seen. Like
it's like 6 minutes of excellence.
Yeah, it's just
insanity.
Barbarian and Ming doing the craziest stuff and saving spots that they had no right to save.
like you look back then, and it's like, oh yeah, they're not doing flips, they're not doing crazy stuff. There's no choreography at all.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
This is like
it's just the way I want it.
But that match has Barbarian holding one half of Public Enemy upside down in like a Styles Clash, while the other guy flips into him.
Oh my goodness.
It is insanity.
And it was like the opener to this random Nitro nobody remembers. It was phenomenal.
That is awesome.
I love it. That stuff gets me excited.
We sit around and watch random. We'll just kind of sit down sometimes and just watch random stuff.
It'll be a Chikara. It'll be a Nitro. It'll be random.
We get a lot of ideas from old Chikara. Mm-hmm. I love Chikara. I used to never miss a show. Like maybe right before the BDK form. So whenever that was like 2010, 2009, 2008. Yeah. I got to see some stuff that blew my mind. Like if you ever seen the 4-way between, I want to say it's Nick Jackson, Kota Ibushi, El Generico, and
I always forget the fourth one.
Jigsaw. It's on YouTube. It's one of the craziest 4-ways I've ever seen. And I remember watching it live and just my head was exploding.
You talked about JP before.
Yes.
I mean, you saw it now. Were you excited because it comes and goes? It's not as frequent as it used to be now. What were your favorite memories of JP?
Oh, I mean, I will always love Fat Frank because he's the first person to ever let me step over the guardrail, even though it was just as a photographer. Mm-hmm. There was a show I always used to shoot from the front row, and they didn't have a photographer, and Frank was like, just jump the rail. I started taking photos for them, and it got me going to more shows, and it got me more involved, and I met guys like Corvus and Arcadia and guys that I consider friends now that I never would have gotten that chance without Frank. He was the heart and soul of Jersey All Pro. That's it, in my opinion. The reason that they come and go is because Frank would be the guy who would have these ideas and push them to keep doing shows. Yeah. I mean, their shows they book awesome talent, and it's just there was something about what Frank brought, his enthusiasm, and like it just was like infectious around there, and it's missed without him. So that's the big thing for me with Jersey All Pro. But like, I mean, I saw some guys there that way ahead of their time. Tyler Black wrestled there. CM Punk wrestled there. Kenny Omega was incredible during his run, and it was 10 years ago now. It's crazy to me.
That's the first time I ever heard of Omega.
Yeah. And he was doing funny stuff then, and then it's just like lost to history. But it was great.
That theme song you had was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
It's crazy because I was there when people used to be like, "Fuck you, Teddy," and then and I would do that too. And then
a lot of that was in jest, though. Like those guys would turn their backs to him and put their finger up, but at the same time they would be like freaking out when the match is going on.
And it was so surreal because a couple weeks ago I actually got to sit face to face and talk to him. I'm like, I used to fucking curse you out all the time.
There's a random match from that Jersey All Pro that I remember all the time because it's the weirdest triple threat. It's like a past, present, future match that shouldn't have been good. Xavier, the second ROH champion, versus Teddy Hart versus Kenny Omega. Yeah. That happened. Like, where else could that have happened but Jersey All Pro?
They were pretty visionary. Looking back at it now,
and they brought in Liger. They brought in Milano Collection AT, who is like tremendous, one of the most underrated Japanese performers I've ever seen.
Yeah. The coolest thing for me was when I first started going. I remember my first show was the Haas of Pain, and it was Charlie Haas and Jay Lethal. Mm-hmm. And then like a week later, Jay Lethal is on like Impact, and like they would bring in Samoa Joe and Rhino, and like you paid $20 and you're just watching like TNA pretty much at like
that was actually how I started getting into indie wrestling. I watched TNA in high school. I'd fallen out of wrestling for like 4 or 5 years, and then in 2006 I had a friend who was like, "You gotta watch this TNA stuff. These guys are crazy." And I mean, it's just spot fest, but it was so different from what was going on. I started watching it, and then he was like, "These guys are AJ Styles and Samoa Joe are gonna be in Edison at ROH." And I went to an ROH show, and you walk in and it's like there's a bunch of people around. It looks like a cult meeting. It's just like that place was crazy because you walk in and all the seats are in the middle of the hockey rink, and there's so much space in between. So it just looks like all these people waiting for like some sort of like religious speaker to go on, and it blew my mind. Christopher Daniels, Chris Hero was there, Jack Evans, Ricky Reyes. Like those shows were stacked, and it's no wonder I became an indie fan watching those shows.
I used to love when he used to come out with Angel. Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, she's pretty hot.
Alice in Danger?
I was like, damn, they should do this on Impact, but she never.
Yeah, right?
That was also fun. That was like they were doing a CZW versus ROH invasion, which was insane because it blew my mind because like it was so different from anything I'd seen. It felt like an NWO type thing, but like ramped up a level because they were like it felt real.
There was way more of intensity to it.
The Briscoes came back at that show. Like that was insane. Like I couldn't have picked a better first show to get hooked on indie wrestling. And then the next show I went to, Homicide wrestled Necro Butcher, and Necro Butcher got buried in a pile of chairs.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was an incredible time back then.
Yeah.
Just seeing the redneck, wrecking crew and
Brody Lee,
LAX,
Luke Harper,
yeah.
Brody Lee.
Yes.
Brody Lee's my boy. I pushed so hard. I used to talk to Frank all the time, and I would message Frank every day and be like, "Bring in Brody Lee. He's going to be awesome."
Yeah.
So, Luke Harper, if you're listening, you're welcome for your push.
It was so weird because you wouldn't expect that guy to make it to WWE. I mean, just on appearance, not because of ring skill. I think he's amazing.
Yeah,
but just like,
I wish they'd let him do the trucker thing. I think it would be over. I don't know.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It would almost be like taking a new generation gimmick and putting it in today, and it would work.
Yeah.
Like one of those gimmicks would actually finally work.
Yeah.
So guys, you've been in the ring with the guys like Psycho Drivers and Sweet and Sour. Who've been some of your favorite opponents so far?
We've been pretty lucky and not really have any like terrible people. Like,
yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know if there's anyone I'd consider a favorite because I don't know if we've wrestled anyone that many times, but like there's no one I'd consider bad either.
No. I mean, wrestling Sunny Kiss was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Because it was a different dynamic. We were always spanking people, and with Sunny, the buns of steel.
It got turned on us.
It got turned on us, and doing it that early in our run, it was like such a fresh thing for us, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say that was one of my favorite matches watching you guys, and that I felt like it was a perfect example of like your guys' character of the StepDads and facing Sunny Kiss and Dickie Moon. Like, what better perfect representation of the new generation?
Yeah.
Especially with Sunny Kiss, like the new generation, and it's like the clash of what you guys are fighting, the new generation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That boy ain't right. Oh yeah.
It's so fun to do stuff like that too because those guys like it's never more frustrating than when people want to put you in a box and they're like, do this move, and you've never done that in your life. Like that was a match where like, and we've had this with most of our opponents where it's just we get what they do and they get what we do, and we kind of make it work. Where like we're not no one's forcing anyone to be who they aren't, and it ends up coming out better that way.
Yeah, we always try to have like a certain style to what we do, have like a flavor.
Yeah.
So now it's starting to become a thing where people, even last weekend, Kennedy Copeland was like, "Oh, we have a StepDads match today. I want to do all the StepDads stuff.
Yeah, I want to do all your stuff.
I want to do all your shtick because it's so different from what I do, being like a technical wrestler and all that stuff."
And the match opened with literally, I just kept I shoved her and like she ran at me. It got mad, and I was just like holding her head back while she was swinging and couldn't reach me. Like I got to be a jerk, which was fun. It's all about finding what works and what doesn't, and just be you.
Luckily for us, we got like with the spanks and all the stuff we do, it's so different that like early on I would have to ask like, is anyone doing a superplex? Is anyone doing this move? Is anyone doing this finish? And now it's like, who's gonna do a spank in their match? Like,
and if you are,
get
out of here.
Yeah, like we don't really have to worry too much about that kind
I
of
can tell you who our favorite opponents aren't. The Cash Masters, because I've never heard of them.
Yeah, never heard of the Cash Masters. Cash Masters, you said?
Yeah, I don't know who they are either.
I don't know.
That's just a name I made up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
When you guys, when you use your butt, is there anybody who inspired that?
That just comes from a lot of people telling him he has a big butt.
Yeah, including Sunny Kiss mentioning that.
Oh my goodness.
When you get a compliment on your butt from Sunny Kiss, you make note of it.
I feel like I won something that day. But yeah, it was that.
Buns of Steel or something?
Yeah. It's pretty much the Buns of Steel match got me thinking about it, and yeah, it was great. It was perfect.
I'll tell you, like, who I would like to see you guys wrestle. I would love to see you guys wrestle CPA and Habib.
Yes!
That would be so
Yes,
that would
yes,
be hilarious. I would love that match.
Oh my gosh.
I want to wrestle CPA so bad.
Yeah. The first time we met him, I remember we yelled, "It's good us! Look, it's good us!
It was
We want to be like them!"
the Breakfast Club, CPA and Kip.
Yeah.
That'd be a
I'd love
good
to
one
wrestle
too. That'd
them.
be a good one as well.
Oh, that would make my day.
I would love that.
The Kids in Detention versus StepDads, right?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
Habib from the car wash. I go way back with Habib. He's a good guy.
That's a pretty sick match, actually.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think of the team I want to see.
I mean, as far as UWA Elite, I'd love to wrestle Team Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
There's
be
gonna be
hilarious.
a lot of
I would
fun
like
there.
that. That'd be good.
Yeah, you
Got
got
megaphone inside voices, mister.
Yeah, you got Megaphone in there talking about how things used to be better from back in the day.
Yeah.
We are better because we're from back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
That's
man.
why we're better.
Yeah.
That'd be the promos on that would be hilarious.
Oh,
man.
so good.
We're just the sad part is how far ahead we are with promos where we think of ideas for stuff that hasn't even come close to happening. The other day on our car ride up to Massachusetts, we spent an hour talking about what we're gonna do the first time we lose a title, and we barely just won a title.
Do you guys ever feel like you've had enough of each other for, like,
Every day.
really?
That's why we live on different levels of the
Yes.
house.
Different worlds.
But I mean, not really. Like sometimes I'm just like, Rad, get the hell away from me. Because Rad is like a 24/7 wrestling encyclopedia,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm like, just please get away from me.
Guys, I really like wrestling.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I was just watching this thing on YouTube, and I was like, I'll just be like, cool.
Yeah, I'll run upstairs and I'll be like, "Look at this thing Michael Elgin did," and you'll be like, "Go away." I'm like, "All right, see you tomorrow."
Yeah. He'll come up and be like, he'll just like run in the room and be like, you gotta see this. I just was just watching New Japan, and I'm like, Brad, we're at a funeral.
Oh man, yeah, trust me, I feel your pain. Like she like sent me like a Meat Sauce City thing from Virgil. I'm like, why are you sending me this?
Yeah.
He knows I hate Virgil. It's like, don't send me anything with Virgil ever.
This guy sends me YouTube or Facebook messages from downstairs to send me spot ideas.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I sent him like an Al Snow thing. I'm like, you gotta watch this thing. It's like pretty genius. And he's just like, all right. It's just like, it's funny how, I can't imagine being without him. But
Yeah.
there's
Something every day.
every day, every day.
Oh, yeah,
literally, teammates.
That's what. We're always looking for people to join us in our car rides out to places because we can only talk to each other for so long. He'll talk wrestling. I'll throw music on, and
At some point, we'll just do sing-alongs and end it there.
I'm trying to get him hooked on different music because I listen to all weird like indie stuff, and he listens to like Five Finger Death Punch and everything that was popular in 2002. So
That's crazy.
Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez.
Gotta get that grunge, man. Get the grunge. Get the hair metal.
Bloodhound Gang.
I love that One Direction.
No.
No, guys. Spice
One
Girls?
Direction is down. That's the direction that's going.
Alt J. Weird stuff.
Some Backstreet Boys.
Once in a while.
Maybe some Backstreet
That'll
Boys.
come on in
Maybe
the car.
NSYNC.
All right, yeah.
Little Vanessa Carlton.
so-
Vanessa Carlton in the car is a good one.
I've recently rekindled my love of Cher.
Yeah.
I'll admit that openly.
That's a fact.
I used to have a huge crush on Cher.
That's
I don't know why.
That's fair.
But I did.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing.
Well, she's like a robot. I mean, it's like she's like 90% made of like
she's
animal
definitely
parts.
got like an Amazon vibe going
Yeah,
on,
I had a
right?
huge crush on her, and I had a huge crush on Celine
A
Dion.
Fran
Yeah.
Dresser.
All right.
I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
like-
I just did.
If like Wonder Woman's mom was like
There
a
you go.
singer, she'd be
Yep,
Cher.
there you
Cher,
go.
yeah, there
Yep.
we
Did
go.
you have one Fran Dresser too?
Who? Oh, Fred, yeah, I love her. The nanny. I thought she was hot.
She was on TV in skimpy dresses in an era where nobody.
I mean,
I'm
that was the
on
whole
board
point,
with that.
right? That was the whole point.
That's an underrated '90s sitcom right
yeah,
there.
the nanny for sure.
I'm all about as
Nigel.
probably like one of like 3 people in wrestling who loves Broadway. I appreciate the nanny because he was a Broadway producer and always talked about Andrew Lloyd Webber, who looks like an actual monster person. So,
She was hot, and I liked her voice.
and the Butler was funny on that show.
yeah, he was.
Niles was great. If you
Yeah.
didn't watch the nanny, you probably led a normal life, but you missed out.
Yeah.
My crush was like Sunny or Sable, but yeah, Fran Dresser is it's normal.
Shout out to Christina Applegate. All right.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to Poison Ivy from Batman the Animated Series.
Oh my goodness. Alright,
It's a good thing this comes out on Wednesdays. Like WCW.
Right? Perfect. So, we know you guys, you're the stepdads. You know, you're not big on the technology of today. But if fans actually wanted to follow you guys, how can they follow you? How can they get in contact with you guys?
They learn our schedules. They come to where we work.
You're gonna have to send the smoke signal.
They learn what cars we drive.
Yeah.
Do you want our
And they learn where I live. That's how you follow us.
Give the beeper.
On technology. It's funny when you said, I know you guys aren't big on tech. I was going to say technical wrestling. Yeah, you figured us out. Big on technology. I mean, we're on Facebook.
Yep. It's the stepdads, but if you need to, you can just put in stepdads wrestling.
Yeah,
pop up.
Yep. I think it's facebook.com/stepdads wrestling.
I think so.
Twitter, I think, is the same thing.
Yep.
This guy doesn't really do his own pages. He just handles. If you're contacting one of the social medias, he handles it. He has this all.
You'll be talking to me.
He has it planned out on like a schedule. It's a strict thing, and I handle my own Twitter and Instagram, which is Wade Krueger 1, which no one follows or cares about. So
early on in our teaming up, it was like a thing where I would post a picture every day, and the whole idea was just to like constantly beat people with stepdads, to the point where like 6 months in, people were like, "Oh, you guys must be wrestling every weekend. You guys must be everywhere." And it like really helped us. Yeah, and now we are wrestling like every other weekend.
I was looking at the page today, and I saw like a whole lot of pictures. I saw like your whole schedule. I was like, damn, these guys are everywhere, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it look like we're doing something. You know?
It makes it look like we're wrestling more. Then people are like, I got to get those guys. They're in high demand.
People might mistake us for real wrestlers or something and book us. So it'll work out.
Tell us you're real wrestlers.
We try.
And for us, we are Wrestling IQ 101. You can follow us on Wrestling IQ 101 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, listen to us on the B Plus Player Network. Subscribe, like, share.
Before we go, I'm going to turn the tables on you guys.
Okay, sure.
Ooh.
What is something that, we talk a lot. We probably ran out of time. What is something you wanted to know that you didn't write down or that you wrote down and crossed off? Maybe something that you wanted to learn about us that we
tape
skipped
machines
over.
are rolling.
The only thing I wrote down that I didn't ask, because it's so generic.
Sometimes these are the best questions. That's why.
Where did you guys get trained at?
Okay, we started. Go ahead.
Oh my god, this is a long story now.
We can make it quick.
Way earlier in 2009, I started training with Vegas Championship Wrestling in Las Vegas.
Nice.
It was like the first school since for 10 years or something there, because they just didn't have wrestling in Vegas much. Did that for a couple months. Did a little bit of indie stuff there. Stopped. I was like, not for me. Then fast forward all these years later. I got a little bit of help from Johnny Strong, if you remember him.
Johnny Cockstrong.
Johnny Cockstrong from Beyond Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
If that doesn't tell you where our style comes from.
If you ever seen the forced choke slam and all that, it's perfect for me. He was the one that taught me about character work, and you gotta understand how to, really present yourself and everything. And then I started with the Susquehanna Wrestling Organization, which is in York, Pennsylvania, in a barn. There's a guy there that runs it named the Wolfman.
He used to be in ECW when they were Eastern Champions.
Yeah, very early ECW. So he does that area, and then he ended up jumping on there a little while later after me.
Yeah, it's a very unorthodox kind of situation.
Yeah.
We trained, learned the basics, but I mean, you're never done. Everywhere we go is just a chance to learn from somebody new. Yeah. We're always the guys in the locker room who are going to pick somebody's brain and ask for advice. And ask guys to watch our match and critique it and get advice, because it's always better to have an outside in. I mean, we know what's good and not good, but we don't always know specifics or what something's doing that everybody has their pet peeve. Yeah. So someone's watching our match and going, I hate that they're doing that. Yeah. And we're not even noticing it. Yeah. So it's nice to get that.
It was like going to the school helped us not embarrass ourselves. Yeah. But now we have to actually learn how to be good and how to, make everyone else look good. And
all the wrestling training can only prepare you to be safe in the ring and protect your opponent. But getting in front of a crowd is something you got to just learn from getting out there and learning it, because you can't practice that in a barn.
Right. You can get your driver's license in a tiny little parking lot, but then when you're on the highway, you gotta really learn how to drive.
Yeah, and I still can't parallel park. So.
I'm from Vegas. There was no parallel parking in Vegas.
Oh man.
Well, there you go.
So now I got another question.
Throw it at me. We're here all night. I had a 4.5 hour nap. I'm great.
Because we asked who's the best dads from sitcoms. All right, so if you guys were dads in sitcoms, who would you want to be your sitcom mom? Well, not your mom, your wife.
Yeah,
She's your mom, you know
okay.
what I mean? Yeah.
Ooh.
See? That's a tough one.
I'm gonna go probably way off the board.
Please do.
With the mom from Dexter's Lab.
Oh yeah, she was pretty hot.
Not only was she pretty hot for a cartoon.
Yeah.
She always wore her rubber gloves.
Yeah.
She lived to cook and clean. And I'm not saying that's all that a woman should do, but she lived for it.
Yeah,
when she didn't have her gloves, she had like a psychotic breakdown. That's the answer.
Yeah, definitely.
She became like a cleaning superhero.
Yeah, for real.
That's my
I
answer.
don't think I can beat that. That was so
I was
good.
just waiting for you to say Peg Bundy, but
I would.
I
You
thought
know
that
what?
was
I
coming.
was gonna say that, and I was like,
coming.
okay.
but yeah, that's my answer.
Screw it, Pig Bundy.
See, that's why I turn the tables on you guys. I love these type of questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's my favorite. It's like sometimes the
Totally
weirdest
yummy.
questions are the ones that have the funniest, the best answers.
What about Raven's wife?
How about Dick Van Dyke's wife? That's a throwout.
That's a throwback for you. What about I mean, would Jeannie from My Dream of Jeannie count?
If that counts, I'm in. I'm there.
I think I would pick
Fran Drescher.
well,
nanny.
that would be a good
She
pick.
was stepmom.
But
right?
if not that, I don't know if she's like a mom or something if they had kids, but the wife from King of Queens.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I like her too.
Yeah.
She's
Carrie?
pretty hot too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she hates Scientologists, so she's cool.
See?
Damn, I'm out.
If Pamela Anderson was married in Home Improvement, I'd pick her.
Heidi?
Yeah. Oh well, all right.
Yeah, there's a couple of good ladies out there.
The sitcoms know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, so that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So, for us, again, we are Wrestling IQ 101. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen to us on the B Plus Player Network. And make sure you like it, subscribe.
Definitely, bro. You have just listened to the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast, powered by B Plus Player Radio.
One more for the good guy.